Everyone, my name is Amit Kumar Singh, and welcome to the on Operation Research. So, in today's class, we'll talk about a very important concept called sequencing problem. So, in exam, you'll get problems on sequencing problems, and sequencing problem is not at all a difficult topic. This we can do very easily. So, solving the problem will not be a problem scenario for you whenever you try to attempt the problem on sequencing problems. So when we talk about sequencing problem, as the word itself talk about the meaning, the sequencing problem is all about how you can do the sequencing of your job. So this the sequencing of job, when I'm talking about here, I'm talking about assigning work on machines, because we are studying a subject called operation research. So the subject is all about optimality. So if you remember right from the day one, when I'm teaching you the subject called operation research, I'm teaching you something which is called optimality. How we can talk about efficiency, how efficiency can be developed. So imagine you're about a setup where you have lot of machines which are working together, and these machines are performing a different set of works altogether. So how you can sequencing of work in these machines so that the efficiency can be worked on. So the idea of working on job sequencing is to make sure that the work what you do on the machine, it should be done in such a way that so that any machine should not remain idle. Okay, idle or without any work. Imagine there are a lot of works need to be done on different machines. So imagine if you randomly assign any work on any machine. So maybe for moment of the time that machine got the work, but what about the other machine? So if you imagine if the work got delayed on second machine, then automatically the work will more delayed on the third machine, and automatically the work will more delayed on the fourth machine, and henceforth. So if you understand the way the work happens on machines, so it is a continuous process. It's not a discrete process. So once one set of work get over on one set of machine, then the same finished work which was done on one machine, the same finished work which act like a raw material for the next machine will get start, and then that set of machine will convert that set of work which considered for them as a raw material into finished good for them, and then it transformed to the another machine. So this when we talk about sequencing problem, so in this chapter called sequencing problem, here we'll talk about sequencing of work on machines, and first we'll start with two machine problem. So in exam you may get the problem on two machine, you may get the problem on three machine. So we'll start the work with two machines. Like imagine, like you can see this problem, you can see this problem one. So here I'm talking about a five work, A B C D E. Five works are there, and these works are being done on two machine A and machine B. And this data what you can see in numbers, these data are the time, processing time, what is being done on a particular set of machine. So you have to make sure whenever you're doing the work, you have to make sure that you do the proper sequencing of work in the machine, so that your machine should not remain idle. If it remain idle, it should remain for the minimum possible time. So that is the idea of working on sequencing problem. That is the idea. Whenever we work on sequencing problem, we do the work in that manner. Okay, so let's talk little bit theory about job sequencing. Basically, when we talk about sequencing problem, so the mechanism what we apply to solve the problem on sequencing, the mechanism is called Johnson rule. So here the numericals what we do for solving the problem, we apply Johnson rule. So if you remember when I talked about what you say assignment problem. So in assignment problem, the approach what we used for solving the assignment problem, there the approach name was Hungarian approach. So there the approach name was Hungarian approach. Like the same way to solve problem, sequencing problem. So this sequencing problem or job scheduling problem. So this sequencing problem, when you solve this problem, so the mathematical approach what you'll apply is called Johnson rule. Okay, like you can read the theory. So like here, what is written? That sequencing give us an idea of the order in which things happens or come in an event. Suppose there are n jobs, like you can see those n jobs 1, 2, 3, 4 till n, and each of this has to be processed at a time in the machines. Suppose there are n machines are there, so the order of processing of each job through each machine is given. Okay, you can see whenever you get the problem, that order is given, the time period is given to perform one set of work on one machine. Okay, then the problem here, what is the problem? What is the problem here? Whenever you talk about sequencing, what is the problem here? So the problem here is to find the sequence. So the sequence among n factorial to the power m, the number of all possible sequences for the processing of job, so that the total elapsed time for all the job will be minimum. So what is the total elapsed time? Total elapsed time is the total time what will be taken for to finish the work. That is called total elapsed time. So the idea or the objective is to make sure that our work should be done in the minimum possible time. So I believe you can understand these concepts very well, because if you have n m machines, so in how many ways you can do n jobs over the m machine. So this you can understand by using the concept of permutation combination. So if you have n jobs, so these n jobs need to be done in how many ways? So these n jobs you can do in n factorial ways. Okay, I hope you are aware about the concept on factorials and all. If you have doubt on factorials and all, you need to have an idea about permutation combination. To understand permutation combination, you can go to my what you say playlist of my set of videos. If you go to quantitative aptitude section in the playlist, you can search for permutation combination chapter, and there you try to understand this. So basically, when we talk about the distribution of work, so in the distribution of work, we have four types of distribution of work, like distinct to identical, or identical to identical, identical work on identical places, identical work on distinct places, distinct work on identical places, distinct work on distant places. So when we talk about distinct to distinct, there we use this formula called repetitive over non-repetitive, and that gives you this approach. So if you are if you are really interested, you can spend some time on this. It's all your wish to understand this. Otherwise, you can ignore it. Fine. So ultimately, you need to learn the approach, what approach you can apply to solve the problem. So when now there are two terms here which are important for you to understand in this chapter. One is called ideal time of machine. One is called ideal time for machine. So ideal time for machine is the time for which the machine remain idle. Idle means without work during the total elapsed time. So total elapsed time means the total time to finish the work. Okay, whatever the total time you're gonna take to finish the work, that is called total. Idle time here is the time where you remain idle. You remain without work. Okay, so machine is there, and work is happening on the machine, and suppose no input came on the machine, so then machine would be on, but machine is not doing anything. That is called idle time. Then the next term what I mentioned before is the total elapsed time. Total elapsed time is the time between the starting the first job and completing the last job, so which also include the idle time also if it occurs. That is called elapsed time. Okay, I hope you are understanding. I believe everyone can hear my voice. Anyone have any difficulty with my voice? Everyone can hear me properly, right? Guys, just write in the chat box. You all can hear me properly, right? Just mention, just for a confirmation. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So now principal assumption, what we do here, the first assumption what we use here See, why I'm doing hard work in writing these notes and all for you people. If you remember in your group, I have sent you notes of game theory also, because because these chapters are not difficult chapter. Okay, game theory, sequencing problem, these are not difficult chapter. If numerical will come from 4-6 marks and all. Okay, so if numericals are coming for 6 marks and all, so sometime in place of numerical they may ask you theory also. Okay, so it can happen that they will ask you either numerical on game theory and theory question on sequencing problem, or they can ask you numerical on sequencing problem and theory on game theory. I hope you can understand. So that's why there's possibility that from this chapter they may ask you theory question, because these are easy question. So they prefer sometime to ask theory question instead of numerical. If they give numerical would be very easy. But if they ask theory, then we have to write a lot. That's why I'm making these theory notes and forwarding in your group. So I hope that you guys are watching my videos and you are going through these notes. But even then, I feel very demotivated because I hardly see people watching my videos. All the videos what I put in the group, I see 2-3 views only. I don't know why, where others are busy. That God only knows. Anyway, I have to do my work. So now talking about assumptions, uh, what are the assumptions you need to do on machine problem? First one is no machine can process more than one operation at a time. So the certain assumptions are there when we are talking about this sequence problem. So one of the assumption is that at a time only one operation can be done on a machine. A machine cannot do multiple operation at a time. Okay, that is the one first assumption. Second assumption, each operation once started must be performed till completion. I hope you can understand. It's very simple English. So whenever you start the work, you have to finish the work on the machine. You cannot leave any work in between on one machine, and on the same machine you can start another work. So that is not possible. Okay, at least for solving the problem. Reality may be different. I am not sure about that part. But here, when we are solving the problem, we believe that once you start the work, you finish, and then only you can start the another work on the machine. Parallelly, you cannot perform multiple operations on the same machine. Then next thing, each operation must be completed before starting any other operation. I hope you understood. Already I talked about that. Then the time interval for processing are independent of the order in which operation is performed. Okay. So when you talk about the intervals for processing, so the time intervals what is required for processing, they are independent of the order in which the operation is performed. So it can happen that there are multiple jobs are there, and there only two machines are there. So it can happen that maybe you're doing one set of work on one machine and there's another machine which is waiting for you, but maybe these two machines are not so close to each other, or maybe there would be some human error or xyz things can be there, but we just ignore those things. We believe that we believe that this negligible the time interval, this negligible interval required to transfer the work from one machine to the other. Okay, and all the jobs are known and ready for processing before the period under the consideration begin. Okay, so it's like the people who are doing their job, they are skilled worker and they have complete knowledge about how the work needs. So any kind of situation of human delay or any kind of operational issues, all that we simply ignore. Okay, there's only one machine for each type. Okay, and a job is performed as soon as possible, subject to the ordering requirement. So the moment you finish one work on one machine, you put that on another machine, and immediately the work starts on other machine, and there's no gap of transferring the work from one machine to another machine. All these are assumptions to solve the problem. Okay, fine. So all these are assumptions. Based on these assumptions, we solve the problem. Okay, so now you see this problem. So we will talk about how we can do this work. So now this problem one I'll do first. Everyone please have a look on this problem. Okay, now see this. Now you can see this problem one. So if you see this problem one, there are 5 jobs are there, each of which must go through the two machines A and B, and their timing is given to you. Okay, fine. So you need to talk about machine A and machine B. Okay, so you have to start, guys. You have to understand one thing, guys, that the work. You have to understand one thing, guys, that the you have to understand one thing that when I talk about sequencing problem. So when I talk about sequencing problem, you have to understand one thing that the work will start on machine one. Work will start on the work will start on machine work or will start on machine one. Okay, the work will start on machine one. Okay, the work will start on machine one, and from that it will from that it will move to machine 2, and it will move to machine 2. You have to understand this, that the work will start on machine 1, and once the work get over on machine 1, then it will move to machine 2. Okay, so it's not like you can start any work on machine 2 before machine 1. It's not possible. So these are few assumptions. So the work will start on machine 1, and then it will move to machine 2. I hope you are clear with this. Okay, and there's no time gap in transferring the work from one to machine two. The moment the work will get over on machine one, I believe that at the same instant the work will start on machine two. I believe that like that in fraction of second, I'll transfer the inventory from machine one to machine two. The time interval for transferring the inventory from machine one to machine two is negligible here. Okay, so the work will start on machine one and it will move to machine two. Okay, and here when we talk about this Johnson rule, when we apply this Johnson rule, when we are working on the Johnson rule, what is the objective? The objective here is to minimize. The objective is to, when you're working on machine one and finishing the work on machine one and then putting on machine two, the objective here is that you allocate the work in such a way that you have to minimize the total elapsed time. You have to minimize the total elapsed time. You have to minimize the total elapsed time. What is the elapsed time? Elapsed time basically, elapsed. What do you mean by elapsed time? So elapsed time basically means that the time between the starting the first job and completing the last job. So the moment you put the raw material, the first raw material, the first set of work, the moment you start the first set of work on machine one till you finish the last set of work on machine two, this total time in between is called as elapsed time. So when you talk about Johnson algorithm, so we set the Johnson algorithm in such a way that you have to minimize the total elapsed time. Okay, so what we do here when we do the allocation of work here, I'll talk about job scheduling. So here I'll talk about job scheduling. So here I have five work. So here I have five work. Here I have five work. One, two, three, four. So you can see I have five work A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So what I'll do the job scheduling. Job scheduling means starting. I'll plan which job should I start first. I have five jobs. Okay. I'm not talking Steve job. I'm talking about the job what I'll do on machine. So I have five job A, B, C, D, E, and I have two machines to be done. Okay. So what I will do for machine A, I'll prefer that job on machine A, which take the minimum time. Okay. For machine A, I'll start with that job, which take the minimum possible time. So you can see these are the data of machine A. So this is the data of machine A. So this is the data of machine A. You can see these are the data of machine A. Okay. So I'll start with that work on machine A, which take the minimum time. So it means I'll start with the job B. I'll start with job B because you can see the job B is taking the minimum time on machine A. Okay. So I'll start with job B on machine A. Okay. So similarly, when I talk about Similarly, when I talk about scheduling the work, similarly when I talk about the scheduling of work, what I'll do, I hope you are understanding. So I hope you are understanding what we are doing actually. What we are doing actually, we are putting the work on different machines. We are putting the work on different machine. So we are putting the work on different machine. I hope you can understand what we are doing. We are putting the work, like I'm writing job. So I'm writing job, and then I'm writing machine A, the first machine. I'm writing job, then I'm writing machine A. Then here I'll write in. In means when the work will start on machine A. Then I'll write machine B. I'll write machine B. Here also I'll write in, and here I'll write out for machine B. And then I'll write the total idle time. I'll write the idle time. Idle time means the time for which the machine did not do any work. And I'll write the idle time for B. So you can see this. So I'm starting with what work? I'm starting with which job? I'm starting with which job? I'm starting with job B. So I'm starting with job B. Okay. So from machine A, it will start on 0 hour, and for how many hour it will take? Job B on machine A, 1 hour. How many hour it will take? It will take 1 hour. Okay, it will take 1 hour to work on machine A. It will take 1 hour. Okay, on machine A. So when we talked about machine, so once the work got over on machine A after 1 hour, then it is passed on to machine B. So on machine B, it will start after 1 hour. So for 1 hour, the machine B remain idle. So you can you can put machine A B, it remain idle for 1 hour. Okay, why it remain idle for 1 hour? Because for 1 hour the work was happening on machine A, and for machine A, how many hours it remain idle? 0, because started 0 hour and it finished at 1 hour. So machine A does not remain idle. Okay, then it is started after 1 hour, and how many hours it is gonna take to finish the work on machine B? It is gonna take 6 hours. Machine B, how many hours gonna take? 6 hours. So after 1 hour, if it's starting and taking 6 hours, it will get over after how many hours? It will get over after 7 hours. Is it clear? Is it clear for you? Okay, so next set of work. So next set of work on machine B will start after 7 hours. Okay, so next set of work on machine B you cannot start after 7 hours. Similarly on machine A. So like this we will schedule the work. So I hope you understand. So the work will start on machine A and the work gonna end on machine B. So for machine B, what I'll prefer for machine B, if I'm seeing this data, for machine B, if I'm seeing this values for machine B, if I'm seeing these 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 values, you can understand for machine B which set of work you can start with machine B. You can see out of machine B, the smallest value is 2. If you see machine B, the smallest value is 2. So if the machine B, the smallest value is 2, means the job A will end on machine B. The job A would be the last job, because that is taking the smallest time on machine B. So if you want to see from this end, you'll see that value which is the smallest for machine B. Okay, and that should be the smallest. So you've done with job A and B. Similarly, you can see both. You can see here. You can see the next smallest value is 3, and 3 is for machine A. So means then you'll do the job D. Then you'll do the job D. Okay. Now then you can see the next smallest value is 4. So 4 is of machine E, and but 4 is of machine B. You can see, so here this is machine B. So for giving preference to the work on machine A, you will start the work with that, and for machine B, whichever is a smaller value, you will end the work with that. So similarly, now only C is left. So this is the sequence of work. So the sequence of work what you will follow is is B, D, C, E, A. This is a sequence of work what you will follow. So B, D, C, B, D, C, E, A. So here you can write B, D, C, then you have E, then you have E, you have A. Okay, now talking about D, so it will start after 1 hour, because after 1 hour the job B is getting over on machine A. So immediately after that job D will start, and you can see how much time the job D will take. So the job D on machine A is taking 3 hours. So 3 hours it is taking. So 1 plus 3, it is 4. So it get over after 4 hours. So the job on machine D, the job D on machine A got over after 4 hours. But you cannot start the work on machine B after 4 hours. You cannot start this. Why I cannot start this? Because machine B is engaged here. You can see this. So the work on machine B, the job B on machine B is gonna take 7 hours. So you can start only after 7 hours. Okay. So whichever is bigger value out of this and this, whichever the bigger value, you take that value here. Okay, I hope you can understand. So job on machine B will start after 7 hours only. It cannot start up before 7 hours, because till 7 hours machine B is doing the job B. So the job will start on machine B or from 7th hour, and D job D on machine B, how much value take? It takes 8 hours. You can see here it takes 8 hours. So you can take 8 hours. 8 plus 7, 15. 8 plus 7, 15. So it will get over, job D will get over after 15 hours, while machine C will start after 4 hours only. Okay. So here, if I see the idle time, so this will not remain idle. Okay. This will not remain idle. Neither this machine, it is not remaining idle. You can see this. Okay. So now job C, machine A takes how many hours? Job C, machine A takes 9 hours. Job C, machine A, you can see job C, machine A takes 9 hours. 9 hours. So 9 plus 4, 13. 9 plus 4, 13. 9 plus 4, 13. So that you can see here, the job C on machine A got over after 13 hours. Got over after 13 hours. But it cannot start the work on machine B, because machine B still the work D is happening. Okay, so then it can only start after 13 hours. It can only start after 15 hours, because after 15 hours only the job D will get over. Now D on machine B takes how many hours? D on machine B takes 8 hours. 8 hours. So it will start up, yeah. So it will start after 15 and take 8 hours. So 8 hours means 23. It will get over after 23 hours. And this is starting after 13 hours. Okay. Now then the job E. Okay, so idle time, and the idle time for this is 0, and idle time for this is also 0. Okay. Now E on machine A will start after 13 hours. E on machine A. E on machine A. Machine A, how much time it is taking? You can see machine A, how much time it is taking. It is taking 10 hours on machine A. So 10 hours you can write. So 13 plus 10, it will take 23 hours. So now you can see both are same. 23, 15. C C on machine B is 7 hours. 15 plus 7 is 22. This is 22. So it will wait for another 1 hour here, and then E on machine two E on machine two is taking 4 hours. E on machine two is taking 4 hours. E on 1 minute, let me see. E on machine two is taking 4 hours. So 23 plus 4, this is 27. Okay. Now you can see no idle time for A. For B, there's an idle time of 1 hour. You can see idle time of 1 hour. Now, now A. So when we talk about A, so it start after 23 hours. Okay, and A is 5 hour. Machine A is 5 hour. 23 plus 5. So this is 28 hour. So it will start after 28 hour only. And A is taking 2 hour on machine B. So that is 30 hour. Okay, this would be 0. This would be 1. Clear everyone? Hmm. Now, when I talk about the total idle time, so the total idle time, what you will determine for machine A, the total idle time, what you will determine for machine A will be this value. So the last, what will take for machine A, so the last idle time for machine A is 30 minus 23, 7. Why 30 minus 23? Because then whenever you'll, if you start the machine one, once you finish this set of work, imagine if you get the another set of work. So the another set of work you will start after 30 hour only, because till 30 hour the work is still happening on machine B, and the total work, at least from, if you see the responsibility from machine A, the set of work, what the set of work was equally divided. The responsibility of this set of work was equally divided among machine A and machine B. And since when we see that if you are starting the work again, so you have to start after 30 hours only. So once this total work will get over, then only you can start the work. Okay, so although when you talk about machine A, there would be some possibility of idle time, but we can ignore that, because that is the whole agenda of solving by using a Johnson rule. That is the overall agenda of working on Johnson rule. So when you talk about here, so here when we talked about here, so this is mm, mm, this is not 23. If the job A get over, after the job A will get over after 28 hours, so it will wait for another 2 hours, so that the complete work uh, get over the machine A. Similarly, the total idle time for machine B is 1, 2, 3. So the total idle time for machine B is 1, 2, 3 hours. While the total idle time for machine A is basically the working on is basically the working on the total finish time on machine B minus the total finish time on machine A, because the next set of work can happen only after 30 hours. Once both the machine are done with their work, then only they can start the new set of work. Although the machine A got finished after 28 hours, but it has to wait for another 2 hours. Then only the total work got over on these set of machine, where the total elapsed time here is 30 hours. So here the total elapsed time here the total elapsed time 30 hour. Here the total elapsed time is 30 hour. Machine B, you don't have to do anything, you simply count manually. See this everyone. If anyone have doubt, please write in the chat box. If anyone have doubt. The ideal time of one, I told you, you just subtract this and this the final time finishing of total work, the final finishing work of total finishing time. This is the elapsed time. This is the total elapsed time. The total time to finish the work. So your work will get over after 30 hours. You subtract with the time when you finish the work on machine A. So the remaining for the total elapsed time minus the total time you finished working on A, that give you the the basically the idle time for machine A. Clear? Anyone have doubt? Okay. Okay. Now do this problem 3. Everyone, please try to do this problem. Everyone, please try to do this problem 3. Everyone, please try to solve this question. Everyone please try this problem 3. Anyone got the answer? Tell me the total elapsed time. Anyone who got the answer? Tell me the total elapsed time. Now see this. Now see this. How to do this? So here 6 jobs are there. Here 6 jobs are there. Okay, so here 6 jobs are there. Let's copy this problem. No need to copy everything. So 6 jobs are there. Okay. Okay. So 6 jobs are there. So we'll talk about sequencing of this problem. We'll talk about sequencing of this problem. So I'll write job. Everyone please try to solve this question. Hmm. So here first thing what we'll do, we'll talk about 6 jobs are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll talk about sequencing of work. We'll talk about sequencing of work. So you see which is the smallest value. You can see on machine 1 what is the smallest value. So machine 1 you can see the smallest value is 1. So for the task A, so machine 1 you will start with machine 1. Machine 1 you start with A, job A. You can see machine 1, you can see the job 1, smallest one. You can see the 1, the smallest one. Similarly, you can see the value 1 on machine B. Similarly, you can see this value 1 on machine B. Okay, but this is on machine B. So if there's a smallest value on machine B, you'll finish at the end. So if there's a smallest value in machine B, you'll do at the end. Okay, so the job A done, job E done. Okay, now you see the second smallest value. The second smallest value is 2. 2 is on machine A. So that you will do after A. This 2 is the second smallest value. It is on machine A. So I'll do it before. So F is also done. Then you can see then then you can see the next is 3. Then the next one is 3. The 3 is on machine D. So 3, the next one is of machine A. The next one is 3. This 3, if you see this 3 is of machine A. So you'll do this job. So you'll do the job D. Okay. Okay. Now 2 jobs are left, B and C. So you can see B is 4. That is of machine A. So you'll do B. Okay. And then what left? C is left. So you'll do C. This would be the sequencing of work. A, F, D, B, C, E. This would be the sequencing of work. Very simple. Okay, no rocket science is there. It's very, very simple. Okay, so then what you'll do, you'll write job. You'll write job. you'll write job, and then you write machine A, you'll write machine A, you'll write in, you'll write out. Similarly, you'll write machine B. Similarly, you write machine B, you write in, you write I out. Then you'll write idle time. You write idle time for machine A, and similarly the idle time for machine B. Okay. So how many jobs are there? The six jobs are there. So first you will do job A, then let me just draw this. So first you will do job A, then F, then D, then B, then C, then E. It will start with 0 hour. You can start with 0 hour and you'll do job A. Job A is going to take 1 hour. So it will take 0 to 1. Okay. Then after 1 hour to start on machine B, and the job A on machine B takes 3 hours. 1 plus 3, 4. Okay. Machine A idle time 0. Machine B idle time 1 hour. 1 hour machine B waited. Okay. Then after 1 hour, the job F will start. F will take 2 hours. F will take 2 hours. So 1 plus 2, 3. So you finish the work on machine A, the work F on machine A after 3 hours, but you cannot start after 3 hours on machine B because machine B is busy till 4 hours. So only you can start the work of machine B after 4 hours. And you'll do the job F. And job F or on machine B is going to take 5 hours. So 4 plus 5, 9. Okay. Now machine A idle time, always you put 0 0 only. No need to see anything. Always you put 0 0 only. Machine B idle time. Machine B idle time. If you see, it waited for machine B. Okay. So it machine B, this was 4 and this is 4. No idle time. This is again 0 only. Then it will start on machine D after 3 hours. So machine D on job D, sorry, job D on machine A is gonna take 3 hours. It's gonna take 3 hours. You can see here job D is gonna take, that will take 3 hours. 3 plus 3, 6. That will take 3 hours. 3 plus 3, 6. Okay, but it finished on 6, but it can't go here. It have to wait till 9 hours. Okay, then 9 hours the work will start of machine B on job D, then D take on how many hours? 8 hours. 9 plus 8, 17 hours. Okay. Then it start after 6 hours here, and job B is for machine A is gonna take 4 hours. So 6 plus 4, 10. But it cannot start because it is busy till 17 hours. Okay. Then job B, job B, uh, job B, machine B, job B, machine B, it's gonna take 6 hours. So 17 plus 6, 23. Okay, so it will start after 10 hours. Okay. Hmm. So job C, C is gonna take 6 and 8. It's gonna take 6 hours. So 16. This is start from 23. Then C is gonna take 8 hours. C is gonna take 8 hours on machine B. 23 plus 8, 31. Okay, so this is 31. This is also 0. This is also 0. This is also 0. Okay, then job E, job E, job E. When you talk about job E on machine 1, it's gonna take 5 hours. 5 hours. 6 plus 16 plus 5, 21. But it cannot start there. It have to wait till 31 hours. and E31 is going to take 1 hour. So E31, so it is 32 hours. So what I told you that for machine A, the idle time is same only. Only thing you can find the elapsed time at the end for machine A, that would be this 32 minus 21. So this would be 11 hours. That is always like that. Okay. This is 0. This is total. If I ask you total, so this total is 1, and here this is 11. You can see this. Anyone have any doubt? Ask me. Clear? Anyone have any doubt? Fine. Anyone have doubt? Anyone? Any doubt? Anyone want to ask anything? I hope this you found this very easy. Solving these questions are not at all difficult. Job sequencing are one of the very easy topic in operation research. You should not miss these kind of questions when it comes in exam. So I think Shruti has sent me the attendance. Shruti, Priyanka, anyone have sent me the attendance? Still I have not received the attendance, guys. Please send me the attendance. Fine, nobody is asking anything, so I'm assuming that you have understood whatever I have done. So with that intention, it's time to wind up the class. So thank you everyone. See you tomorrow for the class. Bye.